now we've got this slightly strange interval, and we'll come back to that in a sec. But now that we've got a leading tone, I can play. Sorry, I'll do it in. I can play that normal chord progression. Instead of the natural minor version, it's now normal again. So I've mainly solved my problems with the minor mode, but there's still one thing left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, that augmented second, that dissonant, strange second. 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a little hard to sing, it's a little harsh, a little dissonant. Sometimes composers of classical music like to use that sound, but a lot of the time they avoid it. A lot of the time it's stuck out a little bit. It's a little too spicy, a little too exotic. It sounds like some musics, especially from the Middle East, which made use of scales that often had those intervals of an augmented second, some of which got imported by early surf music. Here's an example. So you hear how the augmented second can give this kind of exotic flavor to a scale. If we want to smoothen that out, and smoothness was one of the big things that a lot of the times composers were going for at this time. If we want to make it smoother, what can we do? Well, if we don't want that augmented second, let's raise scale degree 6. So now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Nice, smooth ascent. At this point, the only note that's different from a major scale is scale degree 3. Everything else is the same. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Sounds just like major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. This is called half of the melodic minor scale. Called melodic because for writing melodies, for stepwise connections from within a voice, it's often good to avoid that augmented second. Now, it would sound a little too much like major if the story ended there. And so we're going to have two forms of our melodic minor scale. The ascending form works like this, and I can erase the rest of my C scale, which I hadn't been modifying. I probably should have done that sooner. We're not going to use the accidentals on the way down, because a leading tone is to lead, right? So if we're going down, that would have been the harmonic minor. Why have a leading tone if you're not doing what it wants to do anyway? So the melodic minor scale is just like the natural minor scale on the way down. So ascending, raise scale degrees 6 and 7. On the way down, just like the natural minor. And just as we didn't have a different name for this mediant, we're not going to rename this mediant. We may refer to the submediant. We may call it the raised submediant or something like this. But we don't have a completely different name, the way we've got the leading tone on the way up and the subtonic on the way down. And with this scale in place, basically we're going to draw either almost all Western music, traditional Western music, classical music, call it what you will, is going to draw not on the natural minor scale, but on the harmonic and melodic minor scale. So one of the interesting things we'll discover throughout the course of this semester is how context is going to determine which of those scales we're going to use, which is the most appropriate and idiomatic to use. And I think that's all I have to say on that topic. Oh, sorry, no, there was one other thing. Let me give, since I've given you musical examples of the other, let me now give you a musical example of although I have to say, my musical example of the harmonic minor scale was of a different scale, which had even more augmented seconds. But let me give you, from Mozart, an example of just how magical a simple scale can be. You'll hear, I'll lead into first the scale, I'll let you hear it, pause a moment, let you think about that, and then I'll pick up at that scale, and then it'll get into a bunch of other scales and do really interesting things with them.